Welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shelleday, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for tuning us in. Again, we're off and running now. We've been open for about, almost 20 minutes. Let's see how things are shaping up. We'll start with corn, and corn's got a little resilience here. Let's take a look and see. We're up 5 1/4 cents in July. Here we go. 4.59.5. We like to see that. We're just a half cent off the high of the day. We've had a 6.5 cent range. That'll explain it all. Dees, that's the new crop. Look at that. It's the leader. 7 cents better today. 4.75 3/4 is last. We're a tick off the day, high of the day. And we've got a 7 3/4 cent range over there as well. So that's what's going on in corn. Let's go over to the soybeans. Soybeans are up, not as much though. Corn leading the way. 3 3/4 cents better in that July board. 11.81 even. That's a penny and 3/4 off the high. Up about a 12 3/4, 11 and 11 3/4. Well, say call it 12 cent range. No, that's up 5 1/4 cents to 11.52 and a half. All right, so we're up between 3 1/2 to 5 1/4 cents across the board. And beans, so far we're 2 for 2. We like that, don't we? Even wheat, we've got a little bit of a bump here. 3 1/4 cents better in that July board to 6.20 1/4. 2.5 cents, or let's say I call it 3.5 cents off the high of the day. We've had about an 11 cent range, so we're 3.5 cents off the high of an 11 cent range. That's not too bad, is it? Dees is up 2 cents to 6.62 1/4. That's 4 cents off the high of an 11 cent range there. So that's wheat in Chicago. We like it. We're up between 1.5 to 4 cents across the board. Let's move out from Chicago to Kansas City. That's the hard red. Here's where things, we get a little bit disappointed. We're down 3 cents in July. 6.34 1/4 is last. It's about 5 1/4 cents now, 5.5 cents off the low of the day. And we're probably about I'm going to call it 5.5 cents off the high. So we're in the middle of the day's range right there. And that's July hard red in Kansas City. We go to the D sets down 3 3/4 cents to 6.67 1/4. Spring wheat, let's take a look at what we've got going on in Minneapolis. 3/4 cent better in the July, 6.69 even as last. We've had, I'm going to call that about a 9 cent range. We're pretty much right in the middle of it. Dees is down 3/4 cent to 6.97. And we've got cotton. Let's do that real quick. We'll get back to our guest analyst. Cotton is sharply unchanged in July. 71.74 is last, and the new crop Dees is down 16 points to 71.49. Let's bring in our next guest, and that's going to be Mr. Mark Soderberg. He's with ADM Investor Services. All right, floor is yours, sir. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, good morning, Scott. Thanks for having me on. Well, seeing a nice bump up here in corn prices today. Yesterday's USA reports, I don't think it was really exactly what we expected. No change in the balance sheet. I think there's a lot of things setting up on the supply side to make U.S. exports look pretty attractive here down the road. We saw Mexico cut their corn production estimate. I think you're going to continue to see record demand for U.S. corn to Mexico. Also, we did get a CONAB number today. The market's holding in there pretty well, despite the fact they raised their corn forecast another 2.5 million metric tons. So we've narrowed the gap a little bit between U.S. and CONAB here. This afternoon, we're going to get the Buenos Aires Grain Exchange out with their crop updates as well. Surprisingly, the USDA did not cut the Argentine production forecast yesterday, so still pretty wide there. But yeah, I think I'm a little bit optimistic here on U.S. demand. We got obviously after yesterday's USDA report, markets immediately went back to looking at weather and the report here at the end of the month. I think we're trading a little bit of a lean towards lower corn acres and a little bit higher bean acres as well due to some delays here getting the crop in the ground this spring.
Yeah, it seems like we've weathered the storm, no pun intended, for all the negative news. So now I think maybe people feel a little bit more comfortable maybe playing it from the long side. We've come down a little bit too. So yeah, I get the feeling that there is some optimism, especially in that corn market, right?
Yeah, I think so. We've got the speculative traders still pretty heavily short, nowhere near the record short they had here this past winter.
Right.
But yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of short covering from the speculative traders, and there's not a whole lot of resistance here on the charts now to about 471 is what I see on July. And even the new crop, we plowed through some 50 and 100-day moving averages here today with heat building. Yeah, the scattered rains at best. South looks like they're turning drier here, but anyways, a little bit more weather premium as the speculative community lighten up here on the short side.
All right, great stuff as usual. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming on, Mark Soderberg. He's with ADMIS. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more livestock with me right after this.